Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Thank you for joining me and spending your precious time. I'm Jules, and today we're going to do a video about if you're a beginner video game collector like me. I've been video game collecting now for about a year, maybe 18 months, like actively buying video games, looking for bargains, buying some consoles, and just sort of creating a collection slowly. And you can see people that are in the deep end when I watch other people's collections, and you just like they're really like got it amazing and just unbelievable extreme collections. And I thought I'd do it a little bit from the other end of the shallow end of the pool, where we're just sort of getting our feet wet, getting our toes into the water as we sort of delve into the depths of video game collecting, which can be a bit daunting, I reckon. And sometimes you sort of feel a bit sort of, what's the word, sort of, wow, that's just that's crazy stuff. So I thought I'd do it from the easy end. We'll get into some affordable systems and affordable sort of ways to increase your collection and increase the excitement of collecting as well. So the best thing to do is probably watch other people's YouTube videos. It gives you an idea of what they're doing, what's happening, what's coming up. And I didn't even know systems like the the PC Engine or the Turbo Graphics, the Virtual Boy that even existed years ago. The some of the Neo Geo systems, the AES I think it's called. Just things that I just it's so exciting about sort of video game collecting. Like as I said, I've always played video games mostly on the PC for some of the for the past few years, maybe past 15 to 20 years, and I've still got some of my old sort of games as well. It's got my sort of Amiga game here, Jeff Crammond's his Grand Prix game, and even some old PC stuff like StarCraft. I remember the day I bought this in the locker room at Australia Post, so I've held on to that all the years, still got it. And I've even still got probably my oldest sort of gaming thing that I own from when I was real young. So I've probably had this like 40 years now, over 40 years, when it came out back in the early 80s. So it still works. Still got the battery cover. The stand's a bit bent. I don't know what happened there. I can't even begin to bend it back, so I'm not quite sure what happened. But yeah, still old Donkey Kong Jr. And even back when the Nintendo 64 came out, I bought it when it came out, so I've still held on to my original Super Mario World. And if you sort of saw my last pickups video, I bought my first 64 game since probably back in those days, in the 99, 2000, whatever, it would have been around that time that I bought it. So yeah, so I held on to some things, and other things I've let go. Like when I moved to my current location a few years ago, 6 years ago to be sort of precise, I threw out my Sega Game Gear in the case and some games. I threw out my Nintendo 64 box that I held on to for so long. I threw out my my Dreamcast keyboard and some a controller, at least one controller, and some VMU. So there's a few things I've let go and thrown away. I've lost a lot of games. I had a Leisure Suit Larry 5, a Mega Box game, a beautiful turquoise box, if you know that one. It disappeared. A lot of my PC games have disappeared, but anyway, that's what happens when you move around. Things come and go. You don't sort of think about keeping holding on to things, and I'm glad I did with other things. So anyway, today we're going to go through, and I'm going to let you sort of see what my experience has been as collecting video games for the last 18 months. The systems that you can get that are cheap, the games that you can get that are cheap, that are good value for money, great entertainment, and just and I think it'll help you expand your collection and and have some fun as well playing video games, which is pretty much what it's all about. I've always said, buy what you like. Don't be influenced too much by what other people are doing, because that's what they do. Everything is so personal in collecting. Like, just do what you want to do. Buy the games that you like. Buy the titles that you like. Buy the brands that you like. If you like PlayStation, you like Sony, get into the PS2, get into the PS3. Like, I got lots of PS2 games. It's you can pick these up pretty cheap on Facebook Marketplace, eBay. You maybe $110, $150. You can get a PS2 with a good collection of games. And I didn't bring too many PS2 games down today. I've got about 100 games at the moment, and a lot of them I've had since I originally got into the PS2 back when it came out back in, what would that have been, 2001, 2002, something like that. But a good game to get into, which I want to get into, is these Grand Theft Auto games. I think for the value of money that you can pay for these, I've got these pretty cheap offers hours and hours and hours of entertainment, gameplay, and just, yeah, if you're into that sort of style of game, I really would recommend it. And I've been recommended it, and I'm going to play it. So the PS2 is definitely a good way to sort of to get into some of the, even that's the retro sort of collecting. To me, the PS1, it's a bit, the games are expensive for me personally. I can't seem to find them either. So I'm not I do want to get PS1 games, but for me, I'm just like, you know what, I'm just going to leave the PS1. The consoles are readily available. It's just the games that are difficult to get for me. But the PS2 seem to be a little bit more common, especially in antique stores, thrift stores, charity shops, second-hand shops, things like that. Even on eBay and Marketplace, you can get PS2 games pretty cheap and bundles. But what I found was one of the cheapest systems to get was the Xbox 360. Now, I picked one up November last year, and I think since then I've probably got the more games for that system than any others. So I've probably got over 100 to 150 games for the Xbox 360 in that sort of time. So it just sort of goes to show how cheaper they are, how readily available they are, and just the titles that, I wouldn't want to buy the crap titles, so I buy stuff that I want to get. Just titles like Bioshock, the Bioshock series as well. Tomb Raiders on their system, just like most systems as well. The Assassin's Creed franchise, there's just so many games for that are just cheap, good value for money, great entertainment, lots of gameplay there for you for that. And the Gears of War, I'm really looking forward to playing Gears of War. And it's fantastic. Things like Halo. What else we got? Dead Space, Mass Effect, Borderlands. Even things like the Need for Speed, Burnout, and Midnight Club, and what's the other one? Ridge Racer as well. So there's some good racing games. I love racing games, driving games. So for me, there's some cheap, classic games. The Need for Speed franchise is just one of the biggest and the greatest. And I've played it right from the beginning back in the PS1. We used to play Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, and it was just, we used to just love the spike strips at the village and blah 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 that. And me and my friend, we played that so much. It was just, we had so much fun playing that game. So Need for Speed for me was one of the the best. And there's so many titles now. They're so cheap. So especially if you can get that on the PS2. They got Carbon on the PS2 and the Underground series as well. For me, Underground 2 was one of my favorites, just in that time of Fast and the Furious as well. So, and we'll just finish off with a couple more games as well. Just like RPGs like Fable. The Fable series is great, and obviously there's just a myriad of Call of Duty games for the Xbox 360, just like there is for the PS3 as well, which we'll get to next. The PS3 is a good time to buy games for that, I think, as well. I think they're cheap. The systems are quite affordable as well. You can probably pick up a system bundle for like maybe $150. Pretty good, I reckon, too. There's some good stuff out there. I would love to get a good condition fat PS3. I think that system is absolutely gorgeous, rather than the Slim, which I own. I've been looking for them. They're pretty expensive, but then they're also very difficult to find in a really good condition. So I'm going to keep looking. It's not too much of a priority. It's just one of those things I look at. There's a YouTuber that I follow, Cognac. He's got a couple of PS3s on display, and they look really awesome. I love the PS3. It was one of those, when you go from the PS2 to the PS3, the games were incredible. And I still think they are incredible for the PS3. So that's why I think it's also a good system to collect for at the moment. You got titles like Medal of Honor. That's a great run of games. I love the Medal of Honor, even back in the PS2, like Frontline and all that kind of stuff. And then obviously where it all started for The Last of Us was on the PS3. So this game has probably gone up a little bit in price now, but it's still like a $10, $15 game, which is a great way. It's me and my brother were playing it on his PS5. No, it was the PS4 version on the PS5, and we had so much fun playing it, and I was a little bit reluctant to get into it, but once I started playing it, I really enjoyed that. So you've got that as well. And then just other games like, for me, in terms of nostalgia and that, just the Elder Scrolls Run Oblivion, I cannot wait to play this. I've got it on the PC, and I probably should play it on the PC because I'm more of a mouse guy than I am a controller guy. But still, I've got the opportunity, and it was cheap. I forget how much I paid for that one. It must have been like $5, I think I got that at CX, and just like I got this one at CX too, like Diablo 3, and we got Diablo 4 coming out this June. I'm so excited for that. I don't know what system to get it on. Should I get it on PS5? Should I get it on PC? I don't really have a really up-to-date PC at the moment, so I probably will get on the PS5. And again, you know, there's some God of War games too on the PS3. So for me, the PS3 is a really, you know, for me, I got it when it sort of came out. I think I got it maybe 6 months after it came out. I've still got my original system. It's still working well, and yeah, I love it. I really do love the PS3. We'll get into some Nintendo, because I know there's a lot of Nintendo fans out there. For me, one of the more affordable systems and fun systems to collect for is the Wii. The consoles are cheap. You can pick up. I picked up 2 bundles for like $50 each, and I've got it. One was boxed with a heap of games, you know, and another one was like had a heap of games too. And that's how I sort of started my Wii collection, was just 2 basically bundles of Wiis, and then I ended up getting like maybe 40 games out of those 2 bundles. So you got to be fast, obviously, and you've got to, you know, keep your eye on Marketplace. This was off Facebook Marketplace, so keep an eye out for that. And you know, Wii offers you a different experience. It's more of a family experience, in my opinion. Family and friends, obviously, as well. So just with the motion controllers, and just, you know, the way that all works together, and just the sports sort of game that you can get, like Wii Sports is the classic. You know, things like table tennis, and just the amount of accessories and the peripherals for it. Like it's things like such as the steering wheels, as the fishing rods for this. I haven't played the fishing rod game yet, but I really do want to. You know, there's like golf games. I've played the Tiger Woods golf, and just the tennis games, and it's just so much fun. And even just for the people that don't want to play those but more into the shooters, there's, you know, the Call of Duty run still available on the Wii, which you can do with their guns. So, you know, definitely worth looking out for. And also there's this one here where you can utilize the balance board in a different way other than doing fitness or dancing. So you've got this snowboarding game here, which utilizes the balance board. As you can sort of see up here, it will sort of tell you on the back what sort of accessories can be used with the game. So I'm really looking forward to playing that game with the balance board, which I don't have. So I'm really looking forward to getting a balance board. I'm just trying to find one in good condition at the moment. They're all usually pretty roughed up and dirty. So anyway, we'll get there one day with one of them. And then just a few other games, which is good to have to play on the Wii. So yeah, Carnival Games, World Sports Party, and then just another sort of, you know, TV show, Quiz King. And these are all just for us to play, just to have some fun, and just, you know, let me get rid of this notification, bro. Yep, that's done as well. So there's some Wii games there. So I think the Wii's a really good system to get into. Yeah, a lot of fun. Like I said, if you're not interested in the motion controllers thing, it can be frustrating for sure. Then maybe you can stick to they do obviously offer the game pads for them as well. So yeah. So the Nintendo Wii is a good thing to collect for, and also the PS4 at the moment I think is a really good system to collect for. A lot of people are upgrading to the PS5, and they're selling their PS4. So I've noticed a lot of them on Facebook Marketplace. So I saw a PS4 Pro the other day for like $150 with a few games, and I hesitated, but you know, and I'm like, and then it was gone straight away. You know, I'm not saying if I messaged him straight away I would have got it, but I am in quite an isolated area, and it is a bit of a travel for me to go anywhere to pick up stuff. So I have to sort of time it for when I'm in a city or in a town. So, but yeah, the PS4 is a good system to buy for at the moment. Cheap consoles, you can probably pick up a console for like $150 to $200. And as I said, if you be patient, you can get a Pro, you know, for like $150. You know, and that's good. This is all Australian dollars too, so if it's US, you're like looking at like $110, you know, $110 for a PS4 Pro. It's a bargain. And in saying that, with the PS4 too, with people now, they've got the VR2 system coming out for the PS5. A lot of people I've known is also selling the original VR, so it might be a good time to pick up the VR. I've really enjoyed the VR, and I'm enjoying the VR2 as well. But there's some, you know, lots of good games for it. Things like such as Doom, you know, and these are all quite cheap at the moment too. I've picked these up really good, really cheap prices. The Squadrons game on the VR is such an experience now. If you're into Star Wars, if you're into virtual reality, just flying around in the TIE fighter, and you know, it does drive you a bit crazy after a while trying to chase things, but it's an unbelievable experience. You know, like to me, VR was one of those things I always wanted to get to, so it might be a good time to pick up a PS4, get a VR system, even some of the aim controllers now too, so you can play other games like Doom and Resident Evil and that too, which I want to get. I don't have an aim controller at the moment. They were quite expensive, but I'm going to keep an eye out for one and grab one. So yeah, definitely the PS4. And also you get a lot of the remastered games too now on the from the PS3 days, you know, things like God of War, which is actually from the PS1. God of War. So you got that remastered now. So it's such a better way to play it than the original way on the PS1. I know people will probably scold me for that, but you know, there you got that one there, and even things like, you know, the Uncharted series here. You know, I know they're doing it on the PS5 now, so there's even a more updated way to play the Uncharted series, which is such an incredible, you know, series of games there. So again, these are cheap, like, you know, $10 I think I paid for them. I think I paid maybe 20 for the Uncharted, but I'm sure you can get it cheaper now. And other, you know, sort of ways to enjoy retro gaming is like, even like things like the Mega Drive collection, you know. And I've got a Mega Drive upstairs. I want to collect for it, but it's one of those things, it's a little bit expensive, you know. Like the games are obviously being used, they've been around for a long time now, like what, 30 years maybe. So yeah, you know, the systems get a bit scuffed up and a bit this and the cords and everything about it, but you can get this here for like, you know, $20, $30, and it's got maybe how many games, over 50 retro games for the Mega Drive, you know. And I played a fair bit on it actually, you know, things like Golden Axe and Sonic, and you know, there was, what was the one I loved to play the other day? There was Fatal Labyrinth. I put a lot of time into Fatal Labyrinth. It was, yeah, a really good sort of, you know, RPG game. So again, you know, just a cheap way to get some retro games. Some of the, if you remember all these games when you were a child, then yeah, you want to pick up things like that. And there's other collections that you can buy too, such as this one. This was a little bit more expensive, this Castlevania collection. But again, if you're a Castlevania fan, it offers you pretty much, I'm not going to say pretty much, I'm pretty sure it offers you every game that's ever been made from Castlevania. So, you know, there you go. You have to worry about having it on the NES, you know, or you know, whatever different systems there were over the years, the Super Nintendo. But yeah, you get the whole lot in one go, and that's just another way to be able to play all the retro games that you enjoyed as a kid in one way. So there's that, and there's a couple of other cheap games as well, just classic titles that you can pick up for $1. Games you can pick up for $2, like Battlefield and Destiny, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's got 180 awards, you know, for these sort of games. And just, you know, just classic titles. Nothing more needs to be said about that. And while we're talking about retro consoles, like even when I first got in, when I was real young, we had an Atari 2600, you know, and then we had the Commodore 64, and then I got the Amiga after that. And then you go back and, you know, I see people with collections of Atari 2600s and they look amazing. You know, it's such nostalgia with games like Missile Command, Pitfall, you know, things like that, River Raid. But when you play them, it's sort of, you know, I'm not sure how much time you want to put into playing them. So even buying this on the PS4 will give you a good sort of indication of what these games were like in this day and age. And for me, I sort of laugh. I love the noises. And I love the graphics. It just brings back so many sort of, I wouldn't say memories because I don't really remember too much. I do remember playing Pitfall and obviously, you know, Missile Command and things like that. But some of the other games, not so much. But, you know, this was, I think I paid like $20 for that one just because I wanted to sort of experience some of the old Atari games. So as much as I'd love to have an Atari system set up in, you know, within my collection, I probably won't. I just think it's just better for me to experience things on some of the modern consoles. And I think there's actually that Atari 50th anniversary, which I've got my eye on at the moment for the PS5, which will definitely be purchased soon. And that's just another way to really relive the sort of nostalgia, collect for the system in a way that you're not really collecting for it. You know, if you have to worry about buying the console, the games, you know, and then storing them as well, because, you know, things like that. And we'll get on to the final couple of games for the PS4. You know, being able to play Another World, which is probably one of my favorite games growing up. You know, you don't need to have an Amiga, you don't need to have the Super Nintendo. And I did buy the Super Nintendo version of it, probably for the same price that I bought this boxed anniversary edition. You know, it even offers you two sort of graphics displays, you know, the enhanced and on the original as well. And I think there's different sound on it to go with that as well. So again, in Flashback, there's a new Flashback game due at the end of this year, both by Delphine Software, a French company. Postcard slipping out. And to me, that sort of really changed the game. And, you know, no pun intended, back then when I saw the intro to Another World. And yeah, to be able to play it on this day and age on a modern console, again, you know, it's just like, we've come so far. It's so exciting to, you know, seeing all these re-releases and remastered editions coming out. You never know what you're gonna get. And while we talk about remastered, there's also this Last of Us remastered edition on the PlayStation hits. What can you say? This is a cheap game that you can get, and you can enjoy the game cheap on the PS4 with updated graphics and that. That sort of, I've also got the original Xbox, which I picked up. That's fairly cheap. To find it again, I had to look for a nice looking console. I've actually amassed quite a number of games, almost not even trying, which I thought was going to be more difficult than it was. So I think I've got like 50 games for the Xbox now. I've only had it since Christmas, so that was without even trying, just sort of getting bits and pieces through collections, through mystery boxes, bundles, things like that. So I'm happy to collect for that system too, and I want to get that set up soon. It hasn't yet been set up. And also for those that want to collect handhelds, this is the Nintendo DS. This is the DSi XL that I picked up a few weeks ago. The games are pretty cheap. I've been looking for a DS for a long time, just hoping to find the right one. And as I said, I'm in a remote area, so it's a bit difficult to find, people that are selling ones, at least for the right prices. In cities and that, it's a lot easier to find them. So games are pretty cheap, maybe $10, $15, $5 for some stuff. I've been enjoying the use with the stylus on Scribblenauts, typing in words to solve the puzzle. So again, really happy to have this one. So yeah, if you want to get into handhelds and collect for handhelds, I recommend getting into the DS. It's a lot of fun. There's also the 3DS as well, which is a little bit more expensive to collect for. Everyone's sort of going on about it at the moment, which is fair enough, because I've played the Ocarina of Time on the 3DS, and it's a really beautiful console, and I can't wait to get one myself. So yeah, down the track we'll get one. And also there's the Nintendo Game Boy as well. I've been looking for a system for a long time, and I was a bit fussy with it. I wanted to get one in good condition, and one sort of got offered to me in a swap. If you saw one of my videos a while ago, you can sort of see what happened. I swapped it for a comic book. But yeah, I'm happy with this one. The games, once you get the console, the games can be quite affordable. Like you said, maybe like $10, $15, $20. And obviously you go up from there from different stuff, but at least there's games available for that price, which I was happy with. Don't have too many, maybe 10 to 15 games that I've got, but being the successor to the Game & Watches, it has to be part of my collection, and I've always wanted a Game Boy. I remember years ago, me and my friend Matt, when we were in Kempsey, he had a Game Boy, and we were playing like Metroid and Tetris and other sort of games on it, and I always remember it from those days, and now I've got one all these years later. So yeah, no, I love my Game Boy. I want to get a nice display stand with it, so you can sort of put all the games around it and sort of have it on display. So that's the handhelds I've got at the moment. I do want to get a Game Boy Advance. That's sort of, that's on the cards. I don't know if I get the unit or the SP. I don't know what the difference is. So there's all these ones that have been sort of refurbished with different cases and backlit, and I've got to look into it before I sort of outlay some money. But I'm really looking forward to getting the Game Boy Advance. And down here I have something that everybody should have. If you're a game player, you love nostalgia, you love arcade games, and you have to get one of these. To me, having a Pandora box, 5,000 games, this offers so many games that you will never ever play all of them. There's actually, I think there must be like 50 to 75 just King of Fighters titles on here. It's incredible, man. And I've spent a little bit of time playing it, not as much as I'd like to, but yeah, I'd love to do a bit of a review, some gameplay footage of just random games. And even games like just the classic titles, like Ghouls and Ghosts is on here, and Double Dragon, just 1942. It's just everything you can imagine that. And they're really cheap. This one was like $189 off Amazon. I think it's still the same price on there. So easy use, plug straight into your TV through HDMI, and it comes with all the cords that you need. You'll have it set up in minutes. I love it. Yeah, I can't recommend one of these highly enough. So if you're a game player, you enjoy arcade, I would definitely consider investing in one of those. And that's pretty much it for today's video. Hopefully it gives you a little bit of insight, a little bit of information about what path to go through if you're starting the collecting sort of process. I'm still going. Now I'm sort of not focused on the PS5, but I got a PS5 recently, so I'm looking to doing some price charting on some PS5 games, and I've noticed a lot of them have come down quite substantially in the last couple of months, like the Cowabunga collection. I remember that was like $70. Now it's down to like $35. So I'm going to see how far it comes down. And I want to do a video of that in the future. I'm going to start doing some price chatting on some games and sort of seeing, sort of what you can save in money if you sort of wait, if you're not prepared to play straight away. So we're going to get onto that. So other than that, thank you for watching today's video. Hope you liked it. Hope there's a few games that you sort of saw that you might want to pick up. And yeah, like the channel, it'd be great. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. I really appreciate your time today. And I've got a pickups video due soon. I'm waiting something to come from the US. I've got to check the tracking soon actually, but it's not going to be a huge pickups video, but it'll be a bit of fun. And I've got a few things planned for the future videos coming up too, so it's all exciting. Yeah, it's good fun doing this YouTube stuff, and I really love watching all your videos too. There's a lot of content creators I watch out there, and it's just, I don't watch too much other Netflix and Disney and that now. I watch all your videos on about game collecting, game room tours, and it just gives me ideas, gives me inspiration and motivation to do my own thing. So again, thanks very much, and I'll see you in a week or so, and have a great time. Enjoy playing your games.